Okay, ready to go. Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is the Town of New Canaan Town Council regular meeting for Wednesday, February 26th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Item number 1 on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can stand.
What were you gonna do without Eric to
Oh, who wants to? Janet, would you like to lead us off? Janet will lead us off.
Yeah. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's get the roll call.
Okay, Rita Bettino,
here.
Tom Butterworth,
Here.
Janet Fonz,
Here.
Luke Kaufman,
Here.
Mike Morrow,
Here.
Maria Norton,
Here.
Kimberly Norton,
Here.
Hillary Orman,
Here.
Christina Ross here, Eric Tunham,
Here.
Jennifer Zona.
Here.
Yes, I understand.
Someone else is here too. Who is that? That's the husband?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's so funny. I'm sorry.
Penny's husband, Bob. Hey, Bob.
Jennifer Zonas here. Thank you.
It's on, but it's not that loud.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, we'll call to order. Looks like we don't have the Boy Scout troop here, I'm assuming. Okay, so let's move on to item number 2, minutes. Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held on January 15, 2025. Can we get a motion and then we'll open it up for discussion?
So moved.
Christina makes the motion, second. Rita, all right.
Sure.
So we have a motion to approve the minutes. Does anybody have any discussion? Thomas?
There is. I really don't want to make this a long meeting. And I really just want to defer to you all. I'm just observing that as much as I'm flattered by being mentioned so much for my comments, we didn't really resolve anything. These aren't results. These are just, this is just a little snapshot of a process. So whatever you guys want to do, I'm fine with what it says, or the alternative is just substitute for a sentence that basically says we referred it to the Bylaws and Ordinances Committee, but whichever way you guys want to go.
I'm fine with that on the latter. So why don't we do that?
So I propose to replace the discussion of town council rules with the language that says, and Tucker has this already, Mr. Morrow presented proposed changes to the rules of the town council for review and discussion. After considering various changes proposed by Mr. Butterworth, it was decided that the Bylaws and Ordinances Committee will prepare a revised draft of changes to such rules.
Perfect.
So I guess we would amend then the motion, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah.
So we'll make an amended motion to include that amended language.
Okay.
Does anybody have any discussion points, Christina?
Just a point of order that it would be the committee that would meet to make the amendments or to do the final correction to
Right.
the rules.
But this doesn't have any, what we did in the town council meeting doesn't have any force and effect. It was just a discussion.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah, so the real amendment would be made,
Correct.
right. So did you want to, should my language be more clear on that? What would you, how would you like to read?
I don't have that version. No, it's clear.
Okay.
The ordinance committee will prepare.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so then that being the case, do we have any further discussion on the?
Yeah, it's Eric. I got a quick question. So what we're saying is that on the minutes, the sentence that starts town council rules, Mr. Morrow presented, it's going to just finish with the sentence about discussion ensued and it's deferred to the bylaws and ordinances. So all that other stuff that begins, Mr. Butterworth, Article 2, et cetera, through Article 4, board ethics, all of that is going to be stricken from the minutes?
Right.
Okay, thank you. I understand that.
Okay, everybody clear? Any other questions, comments on this amended motion? We ready to vote?
I have
Okay.
a question. I was just a little bit confused because I thought Christina brought it up as a town council issue, right? And then you had a proposal that it was a different committee. And so I'm just confused as to how this change has come about. that we're
No, it was
changing.
discussed that we go back to the Bylaws and Ordinance Committee. So the Bylaws and Ordinance Committee will propose an amended version and bring it before the town council for a vote.
Okay.
That's, yeah, that being the changes to the rules of the town council. We haven't resolved whether we would set up a charter review committee. That's still an open question.
Everything
Right.
that is in
Right.
it is an open question.
So
I withdraw my motion.
We will now vote on the,
I'll second.
okay. Any discussion, comments, questions on Tom's motion? Having no further discussion, we'll now move to a vote. All in favor? Looks like the motion passes unanimously.
Yes.
Right, okay, moving on to agenda item number 3, public comments. Members of the public are welcome to speak to the town council on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Speakers are requested to provide their name and street address, and comments will be limited to 2 to 3 minutes, subject to the total number of speakers. Do we have any public comments anywhere? Nope. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, financial update on recent financial results, 10 minutes. Josh.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I'm just going to share my screen and I'll try to blow it up as much as possible. Here we go. All right. So in front of you, we have just a quick financial update as of January 31st. So keeping in mind, that's about the 58% through the year mark. Starting on the revenue side of things, the overall revenue is at 95.9% of what was budgeted, which is about a little under 7 million shy of the 169.9 million budget for the year. The main chunk of that is tax collections is right now at 96.9% of what was budgeted. Just kind of looking forward to mid-February, that's already jumped to 99.3% of what was budgeted, about $4 million more. And that's due to the second tranche of property taxes coming in January and kind of trickling in towards mid and end of February. Building permits is doing really well this year at 98.5%, or 837 of the 850,000 of what was budgeted. That's ahead of last year by about 275,000. And that's mainly due to kind of the one-off of the Burtis and Cherry development that's taking place. And we're kind of, we're sitting at 98.5%, but we're coming into April through June, which are some of the stronger months for building permits. So we're going to kind of see how that takes us past that 100% mark as the time goes on. And conveyance fees are also really strong this year at 90.1% of what was budgeted. That's 1.35 million of 1.5 million. And again, that's about 350,000 over where we were at last year. This is mainly due to, again, kind of like a one-off, the Riverwood purchase that took place. And again, as well, April through June are really strong months for conveyance fees. So we'll see where that takes us towards the conclusion of the fiscal year. Parking is at 93.5%, about 818,000 of 876,000 of what was budgeted. That's jumping up from last year. We're seeing kind of a resurgence in permits a little bit. When you look at parking, you kind of have to keep in mind at the end of the year, we do a transfer of some of that money into the parking fund, which kind of offsets some capital costs that we do in parking lots. So that number comes down by about 100,000, but between now and that time, it gets replenished by things like meters and tickets and any other kind of straggler permits that get prorated through that time. Interest on investments, we're seeing pretty much where we would expect it at, about 63% of what was budgeted, 1.27 million of the 2 million of what was budgeted. That's a jump over last year by about 400,000. Down to tipping fees, that's at 87%. Like I said, of 57% of 58% of the year right now. So it's pretty much right on the money of where we would expect. I know there's a couple deposits that are just getting booked right now that kind of push it past that mark. So hopefully we'll see that kind of come to 100% as the year goes on. Other than that, are there any questions on the revenue side of things? Things look pretty positive where we're at right now in January, February. I guess it's February at this point. But yeah, any questions on those?
Tom?
Just real quick, remind us what the revenue impact of the Riverwood purchase would be.
So that took, that was within conveyance fees. I don't remember the
Okay.
exact number. It
Conveyance
was a,
fees, okay.
yeah, it was a couple
Okay.
100,000, I think.
And Josh, it would be wonderful if we could have this on our tablet, because we can.
You should have it.
On the shared drive, I just don't have access to it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I don't
Absolutely.
even, I'm lost in this. I'm taking it to IT and.
I have a quick question too, and this is just trying to understand. So when you say compared to budget, right? So
Yes.
is that compared to the budget that was expected to be in at this time or the whole year?
For the whole year. So like for conveyance fees, we budgeted for the entirety of fiscal year 25, 1.5 million. Right now, about almost 60% of the way through, we're at 90% of what was budgeted. So, anything above kind of that 60% mark is doing well. But, things like building permits, conveyance fees, and parking, a lot of it is kind of not seasonal, but cyclical. They peak up in the spring and summer months and kind of come down in fall, and winter is kind of slow. So seeing these high numbers at this point of the year, it's nice because we're coming into some of the stronger months as well.
Right. So I understand, tax collection, you wouldn't have it's coming in now. So it makes sense that it's almost at 100%. But
Sure.
Again, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but like if we're halfway or a little more than halfway through and we're at 90%, does that mean we're not budgeting that well?
Well,
because it's actually going to be beating our estimates, or it's honestly just
no,
a
that's
question.
totally understandable. So the tricky part is these one-offs like Burtis and Cherry or Riverwood. I don't think we would have predicted those taking place. Like at this point in the budget process right now is kind of when we would be looking forward at what those revenues would be, and those are things that we wouldn't really kind of have that information on, or they may not have even been ideas at that point. And so those kind of single revenues come in and push us beyond kind of what we had expected for the budget. Without them, we'd be pretty close to in line with where we were at last year.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions at this time?
So,
Josh.
yep. So down to the expenditure side, things are at 50.5% of what was budgeted. This is pretty much almost exactly on pace with where we were at last year. We know we've been getting more snow this year than we have in the previous couple of years. So we're keeping an eye on some expenditures that take place during those storms. And the recent, I think it was in August or September, some of the more major storms that we've been getting some reimbursement from FEMA for, I believe, or at least putting out for reimbursement for that. But we're just kind of keeping a close eye on those. But other than that, we're kind of where we would expect to be at this point of the year.
Josh and my colleagues, I'm sorry to take you back to the revenue page. There was a question I had on that bottom line.
Other.
No, it was a BOE excess cost grant, 916,577. What is that? And I'm assuming it comes in at one point during the year, and that point has not been reached yet. If you could just give me a little background, I appreciate it.
Josh, do you want me?
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
So it's the excess cost grant that the school gets in terms of the 4.5 times for special education. So this is a reimbursement from the state for for the SPED program that applies up there. It actually is due February 28th. a portion of it, and then we get trued up, or there's another portion of it in May. I don't know the date of that one offhand. So we should see in our bank account on February 28th, a portion of it.
Thank you.
Okay, can I ask what's in the other revenue line? What's
Sure,
included in that?
so the best place to find that is pretty much the second to last page. This is kind of a catch-all for a lot of small things. Some of the biggest highlights of that, by sheer dollar amount, is probably the operating transfer in. Those are revenues that we took in either as a transfer in from bond premium to offset debt service, or from ARPA to offset lost revenue during COVID. These are things that we had budgeted for this year. Outside of that, there's unrealized gain loss on investments. There's the state property rebate. So it's shown in this area here. And it's sorted kind of by the differential between what was budgeted. And there's transfer sticker fees. There's a lot of smaller fees, zoning fees, in the wetland fees, and so on, that kind of, I guess, don't get highlighted during the review process. So this is kind of the catch-all for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Josh? Josh, do you have anything more?
No, that's pretty much where we're at. It's looking good so far at this point of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Great job. Anybody? Any other further questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Moving on
much.
to agenda item number 5, appointments, approval of the following appointments. Ethics Board to confirm the appointment of Alexander Safi for a 3-year term ending December 1, 2027, and also for Board of Finance to confirm the appointment of Alan Danes. Nice. As an alternate member for a 2-year term ending December 1st, 2025. So before we make the motions, I just thought it'd be nice, Alexander, if you wouldn't mind hopping up here and just giving a quick hello. And
That's the first test.
Hi. Well, hi, everybody. Alex Safi. I've only met some of you, but for those I haven't met, it's very nice to meet you. Just a little bit about myself. My wife and I moved to town here about 5 years ago or so. I grew up in Brookfield, Connecticut, nearby. My wife is a New Canaan native, graduate New Canaan High School, so we have deep ties to the community. In terms of just a little bit of background, we've got 3 young kids. My daughter is in kindergarten at East School, and we've got a son at St. Mark's Preschool and a 1-year-old who'll be joining him next year. We also, in terms of my professional background, I'm a corporate tax lawyer specializing in corporate mergers, acquisitions, spinoffs. I'm currently with Ernst & Young as a partner, and I previously practiced a large international law firm based in New York. Also spent a number of years as senior in-house tax counsel at General Electric Company, first in Norwalk, then Fairfield, and later Boston. So really excited to be joining the Ethics Board and look forward to serving the community. Thank you.
that's awesome, Alexander. Thank you for stepping up and agreeing to serve. We're really lucky to have you. Any questions for Alex? No?
I
Okay.
always just like to ask what made you interested in wanting to do this?
I would say it's probably 2 reasons. First, just professionally being a lawyer, felt like it was a good opportunity, like a good alignment with my professional background. And the other thing, being a parent of 3 young kids, it felt like the right level of time commitment that I'd be willing to give, given all the other stuff we have going on in our house.
Awesome. Well, we're lucky to have you. So without further ado, would someone like to make the motion for the approval of this particular appointment?
So moved.
Okay, second.
A second.
Kim seconds. All in favor of the appointment of Alexander Safi for a 3-year term ending December 1st, 2027. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That time commitment could extend over time. We may get our hooks into you. Yeah.
I like how you say that after we vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I understand Alan is actually in flight right now. So why don't we go on ahead and make the motion? So would someone like to make the motion for, okay, so Janet makes the motion. Anyone second? Rita, whatever, fine. Okay, so all in favor to confirm the appointment of
I have-
Alan?
Sorry, Mike, I just have the same comment I had about Alex 2 months ago. I've never met Alan. I don't know if anybody else has met him or if he's been before other members of the town council, but be nice to meet somebody before we approve his appointment to a commission.
Alright.
His CV was posted on the tablets
Right.
on January 29th and approved by the Board of Selectmen, January 21st.
I mean,
All right, I'll.
and I can tell you, I definitely know him personally. He's been very involved in the last year and a half in the DCC. And I don't have his resume before me right now, but I remember reading through it and I just thought he was incredibly well qualified, and he's quite a gracious individual. He also has a daughter who moved back to town with a young daughter. I mean, I respect and understand what you're saying, but I can give a personal,
I'm not gonna stand on this one because it's clear that there's been plenty of time for us to call him and meet him, and I apologize for not having done that. I've been out of town since January 29th, so
I got it. So let me
That's on
say
me.
it this way, Eric. We're gonna move forward with the vote. Appreciate.
that's fine. That's
you know,
fine.
You're absolutely entitled to abstain. I know there's gonna be support, majority support anyway. So why don't we go on ahead? The motion's been made by Janet and seconded by Jennifer. So I don't think there's any.
Oh,
unless you
I was
wanna
just
say
gonna,
something.
just so that for those online, I have Alan's resume in front of me. So I can just give you a little bit of his background. So everybody who maybe didn't take the opportunity to meet him, I have interviewed him as well. And as had both members of the Board of Selectmen. So he was 17 years with Swiss Re, and then 23 years at JP Morgan Chase. He's currently on the University of Cincinnati, Carl Lindner College of Business, Insurance and Risk Management Board of Advisor, Country Club of the Rockies private. And then he went to University of Cincinnati with a BA in European History, magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, and the Thunderbird School of International Management with a master's in international management. So anyway, he's has lots of international business experience and has worked obviously at some very large international companies.
I'm just so impressed with
He's candidate, yeah.
the caliber of everyone that volunteers to be on these committees, and yeah.
I like that. he went to-
I did see his resume. I looked through it, and there is absolutely no question as to his qualifications on paper. So next time I'll do my best to try and meet somebody or speak to him before we actually make the vote. I did speak to Alex Safi.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
right.
So why don't we move on forward? All in favor, let me just read it. All in favor to confirm the appointment of Alan Bedaines as an alternate member of 2-year term ending December 1st, 2025. All in favor? Motion,
Okay.
well, you're gonna have to take the,
Yes. Yeah.
he's abstaining, looks like, but
Okay.
we'll call it, we're gonna call it.
I'm just going to abstain. That's all right.
So we gotta call it though.
Rita Bettino,
Yes.
Tom Butterworth.
Yes.
Jenna Fons.
Yes.
Luke Kaufman,
Yes.
Mike Morrow,
Yes.
Maria Norton,
Yes.
Kimberly Norton,
Yes.
Hillary Orman,
Yes.
Christina Ross, yes. Eric Thunem,
Abstain.
Jenny Young,
Yes.
Jennifer Zonas.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you for serving. Now, let's see. Okay, let's move on to agenda item 6. Why don't we just handle it this way? Are there any committees that have a report that they would like to give? I know at least from public safety, they don't really have one, right? Why don't we just move it along? Jennifer?
I'd be so honored to go first for the Conservation Commission because we often when we have a busy meeting, but I have, I think, 2 interesting things. This was shared to me by Robin Bates Mason, chair of that. So the DPW approved the redeemable plastic bottle and can shed. And this is a very elegant thing going forward. Planet New Canaan had the funds and they are purchasing the this shed, and then it will be run by volunteers. It's already been purchased. It's about 5 weeks, should be there in April. So it'll be by the swap shop. And they'll store the bottles and this collection company will come and take them, and any money that they make, you know, or the revenue from that, they're gonna have a group, possibly Robin will confirm later, but of a youth board for Planet New Canaan, and they will choose different not-for-profits in town to get the donation. So it's a lovely and elegant thing to come, and it won't cost the town any money, I don't think. So I just wanted to share that, and I'll let you know when it's up and running, and hopefully we can all like support people, at least publicizing it. Slightly more complicated to explain, but I just wanted to let you know that at their last meeting, they discussed that so right now, so you know, there's the two, I'm not gonna get into the weeds of it, but the subdivisions possibly happening at Brookwood Road, and then another one at Greenlee. And so it is in per 3.04 of the P&Z regulations that subdivision developments can be required to pay a fee in lieu of open space donation if approved by the P&Z. So currently what happens is like 10% of any subdivision, like 10% of the land is supposed to be for open space. You have to tell me if I get this wrong. And it's not like it's one little park of open space. It could be little easement, conservation easements, these little slivers. And so oftentimes, I don't know if people even know where they are or whether, you know, how they're utilized. So it is a suggestion being put forth. They still haven't even voted it. But the idea that if it's in there in this P304, that you could have a payment in lieu of the developers having to give the land, that money, the idea was, could it be put into the land acquisition fund? And so it's just, they're gonna vote on it, and then it can be a suggestion to P&Z. P&Z ultimately would have to make that decision. And just so you know, the other entities that can are Board of Selectmen, Land Trust, Parks and Recreation. And so I just wanted you guys to know that was going on.
Just a comment to that.
Mhm.
I served on the Open Space and Conservation Commission committee, and we prepared a report. And there are some caveats that need to be addressed. You cannot donate open space unless it's accessible from a road.
Mhm.
So if it's in the middle of nowhere and you can't access this, it's not open space,
Mhm.
and it's not a tax deduction. So there are certain regulations that have to be followed.
Mhm.
And I'll reach out to Robin. To
Okay, that's because they're having this discussion in their March meeting.
So. And Sarah Carey probably would be the best person to speak on the specifics of it. But currently, the conservation easement, that talking about 82 Brookwood now. 82 Brookwood has a conservation easement that would go out to an accessible road. So there's no issues with the conservation easement, and they have enough land, and it would comply with the requirements of the planning and zoning requirements, because it would be off of Brookwood, you could access it, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, but there are groups in town like the Land Trust and the Conservation Commission that feel like, you know, there are better parcels that might be more attractive for, you know, using funds to maybe purchase and would be even more accessible, even though, you know, so this parcel would comply. They've reviewed all of that, planning and zoning. And so both Kathleen Holland and Sarah Carey have mapped that out very extensively. So
That's fine. I wasn't speaking about a parcel in particular. I was just answering what Jennifer had mentioned about pieces or leftover pieces that can be donated to open space. There are some restrictions.
I was just trying to convey what they're looking into, because often these pieces go unused. And so it's just another way of looking at it. And it is in there, the possibility of a fee in lieu of, and that's, I just wanted to present.
Perfect.
I'll keep you updated.
Great, Jennifer, that was excellent. Appreciate it. Does anyone else want to chat? Go ahead, Christina.
Infrastructure in utilities, it's just with regards to the tour of the library. We're rescheduling, so there's more participation in the tour when we set the date, and we'll be working with the library to organize that.
And is the tour just a normal tour of the library? Like, so if I've been to the library and every inch of it with like, is there anything different that is going to be discussed or shown or just, you know, something that I may not
Answer
anticipate?
any
or know?
questions regarding the
Okay.
library or anything about the facility itself. I haven't seen every corner of the library, so for
It's a
me, it's of interest.
discussion, and so there might be like opportunity to ask questions. So
Like
it's not
we
just
did-
about,
It's the same as we did with the police department.
In the movie theater.
Yes, in the movie theater. We don't get out much. This is another.
Wait, no, just kidding.
Hysterical.
Well, thank you for arranging that, Christina.
No, I'm grateful the library's willing to do it.
All right,
Little Board of
Maria,
Ed.
please, yes.
Just to remind everyone, the Board of Ed is in front of the Board of Finance. They're looking for an additional 4.67%. They talked about adding 1 FTE in total. But there are, I just wanted to remind everyone, Rita and I, that the Board of Finance meetings are online and there's another one tomorrow. And I think it would be best if everyone really tries to catch up on what's being discussed, and we'll collect any questions you might have. But I think the more time we give the Board of Ed to answer, the better it'll be, because it's such a complicated
Right,
project.
Maria, you said that 6%?
6,
That
7.
includes the 1
Yeah,
FTE?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
it's actually 2, but
It-
it's
it
a net
netted,
one
yeah, there was
because
a
the
net.
grant went away. So it's a net of 1.
Yeah.
And I think what I caught at the end of the first discussion with them is that I think Todd said, come back to us tomorrow with a reduction, so that number may go down a little.
Better if that's going to happen. Let's just try to get it all, front load it and get the discussion sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of background info that can be covered if you watch the Board of Finance meetings that we don't necessarily need to get into here.
Math, was a math coach.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
An additional, it was a classroom coach and an additional math.
It's a math interventionist
Mm.
I need
and a
that.
classroom coach, I believe. But one of those is netted against somebody who's leaving, so it's a 1
It's
plus. FTE.
Yeah, and it's classroom coach across across multiple elementary schools. Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
And the idea, I think, is that the teachers are coming in with a little bit less experience, so the coaches are going into the classrooms and kind of facilitating transitions for one with student, all those things that happen as a beginning teacher, that kind of, you need a mentor to get through. So that is the role they're taking. And I saw they did mention something about the, I didn't catch it all, that they were looking at the salary, the contract salary grid.
The
So,
steps are,
the
yes,
steps.
yes, that was redone.
yeah,
Um,
so things to listen for.
Yeah, that's already done.
Are they starting at step 1, do you know, or are they still doing the step 3? Okay.
It isn't officially filed yet, so it's not public, but it is set. So I think
Nice.
it'll be in the next couple of weeks. It should be.
Nice.
Do you have to sign it?
I don't think so. I think it's the board. I think it was the Board of Ed chair.
Union.
Okay.
The union, right.
Hi, I know in the past, Maria, you had forwarded us the questions from the Board of Ed members, and then we had submitted our own questions. Is that something that we'll be doing?
If you could send us, Rita and I, the questions, and we'll compile them and get them to the Board of, to the administration and the Board of Ed.
Line that you want on
Well, I
that?
think as soon as you can, like tomorrow, there's a meeting with the Board of Finance, so then they'll have had their 2 meetings.
Right.
If you can listen to those 2 and look over the budget, so within a couple of days. just
Okay,
send-
cool. But I remember
questions.
also in the past, you had given us all the questions that the Board of Ed members had answered. And then we got all of those questions as well.
Oh, the Board of Finance, you mean?
Ed members asked questions
Oh,
of the
oh.
budget. And last year you had forwarded them
Yeah,
to us?
I'll ask. Yeah, usually they do put them online at some point, but
Oh, yeah.
we'll,
That would
I'll
be good
check
to
on
look.
that.
That just helps to like frame
Yeah.
like what's already been asked, and sometimes that helps us form.
That's right. Thank you. I'll definitely.
Yeah, but honestly, a lot of questions probably will be answered if you just watch the
the meetings.
Still though, it's educational to read those answers. They're very helpful.
Yeah, they are helpful.
Yeah, yes, I think that's right. I think I've usually found them on the Board of Ed website.
Yeah.
From their budget process.
Right.
And I do think it's particularly salient this year because it's my understanding that one of the coaches was proposed by Board of Ed by the board and not,
Mhm.
it wasn't part of Dr. Lutzi's original presentation. So I think that's an interesting to sort of
Yeah,
see
it was an
the
add-on.
evolution of that.
It was an ad hoc add-on at the end, that's my understanding.
Yeah, so that might provide some clarity. So good idea that we should all look at those too.
I'll send them out.
Christina.
I have a question for Eric and Hillary regarding finance and government. The library wanted to come to the meeting, I guess this evening, I think, to present or discuss some of the questions. And since we moved it to the subcommittee again, are you holding another meeting for anybody to ask any questions since we're not holding at the main meeting?
Well, we had a meeting
No, I know I was saying.
and it was, the point of it was to cover the questions
Right.
and the budget. So we did that in our subcommittee meeting that we've already had with the library.
But the library wanted to come here to explain or open it up.
The thinking, Christina, was that the library would either give us, a discussion with our subcommittee about answers to all those questions, and everybody was welcome to attend that, or they could come and present at February 26th, since they did a very thorough job of addressing all the questions prior to tonight. We didn't see the need to invite them to do that again tonight.
Penny, I I have a question. As we are all having our subcommittee meetings, we were supposed to be notifying the entire council of these meetings, not just post them, but to send a little email out to all of us that these meetings are being held. What has happened to that? Why are we not being notified when you have meetings?
I've been seeing the notifications, Penny, so I don't know.
No.
I know
no
Hillary's
call.
been posting any meetings she's been having, right?
Yeah.
So I've
Yep.
been receiving the emails, because
this-
we had this discussion last time.
There's a difference between posting them online and sending an email to town council distribution, letting
Right.
everybody know that the meeting is being scheduled. I think that's what Penny's referring to.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But I feel like I've gotten those emails.
I'm seeing them.
I haven't.
Right, Jennifer? I mean,
Yeah, no, Penny, but you were at the library one, correct? The governance, you were at that meeting with us on Zoom, I think.
Is there a specific meeting you are thinking about or?
Yeah.
No, I'm
January
with the
23rd.
library and I was not there.
I thought you were on Zoom, January 23, Penny.
I feel like you were.
I
Well,
think you
maybe it
were.
was just that long ago that I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll stand corrected then.
And the library, of course, presented to the Board of Finance on February 7th, and that was very informative. I watched that meeting as well.
right. And on that score, just as kind of sound like a broken record, but I will say this, I've been very, very impressed. I know everyone has been, doing what they can and doing their due diligence and getting up to speed on the budget through both the Board of Selectmen scrubbing it. They did a great job. Board of Finance is doing a phenomenal job. I've been either watching or looking at the video recordings. I know you all have. I think we've done so far an awesome job with our liaisons. Like really, it's super impressed. I mean, the most interaction I've seen prior to us getting the budget in March since the time I've been on town council. I love it. So please all keep it up because as I've been saying, repeatedly, we continue to fine tune the presentations before us at the budget season when it comes to us. And again, I just don't think it's a very productive use of our time or the department heads' times to come on in and just, go through their deck again for the, third time, if not fourth time with us. I think it's cruel and unusual to the department heads. I
Totally.
think for us, it's kind of pointless considering I know we're all moving forward and educating ourselves. So please be in a position that when the department heads come to us in a very short period of time, it's going to be more of a ask any questions that you have type of an interaction with them. I may have them just give a kind of a top line abbreviated version. But I know I keep saying, like, when I look at the Board of Ed come in, they have a phalanx of people sitting there, both their, W-2 people and then Board of Ed people. It's just, I look at them and I feel terrible for them. That's, we're making them do this, again. So please be sharp, be precise in any questions we have for any of the departments, and let's just have that type of an exchange. And let's just keep it moving forward. I don't think any of our meetings need to be, 3-hour bunker buster type meetings. It's just, it's not serving anybody.
Great point,
Mike.
Yeah, great.
To that point, I want to just to add context a little bit to the BOE that we started to say. I've looked at my notes, so to clarify some things, just really clearly. So the math interventionist, as Deanna had said, is for high school folks. What they're finding is that people who are a bit behind in middle school needed to catch up. And so I just want to make sure that that's the math interventionist. If you are.
Can I just add one thing? I'm sorry, but
Okay.
just on that one particular thing.
Sure.
So at the Board of Finance meeting, the interesting thing is they even said it was for people at the bottom to catch up, but also
So
at the top who want to accelerate faster.
That's what I was going
Oh, sorry.
So that's for people to catch up. And then also because people are, colleges are expecting more. So people are doubling up on classes for math. And so it's applying to both, to like a broad. And the other thing I wanted to say is the classroom coach, if you wanted to find out more, like if you really wanted to dig into that. And I don't remember which night someone presented what the classroom coach actually does. So if you're really interested in finding out more, I can find you the night that they presented it, but there was a full presentation on classroom coaches.
Was that
So-
at the BOE level or at the Board of Finance?
That is the Board of Education. So it would be a Board of Education. You'd have to tune in. We could probably find the time that you could click in and, but if you're really interested in finding out more, we can give you that and get you that information.
Is the classroom coach someone, I'll figure it out. I'll look. Never mind. Is that one where a grant was expiring and?
So,
Or is this a
well,
totally new
they're,
position?
it's a new position, but I'm saying it's net. It's a
Yeah.
net one, but
It is a different position.
It is a
So
different
not
position.
Renewing the grant funded position, so that's going away.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then they have 2 new positions. But so it's a net of 1.
Yeah.
and they have
Yeah.
understood.
And actually 2 salary positions versus 1 free position. Right,
I'm
because
lost.
the
Oh.
grant funded was fully paid for out of grant.
Yeah.
Right, I understand. So the head count is actually going up, yeah,
One.
one,
But the
but the
salaries
salaries
are
are going up by 2.
Two.
Okay. That's important clarification. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns, anything? Actually, there's one
I'll
thing
just
on,
add, if I could, we all on town council have received, to my count, 17 letters from New Canaan citizens in support of the library budget as presented. And that's a pretty high level of letters that I've seen on any one issue coming in. Thought that was notable.
yes.
I just want to add that I actually was looking at them too, Eric. I counted 15 from residents and 7 from board members, so there's 25.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks, Scott.
One thing on the public safety, just again, this issue of the car thefts, it's increasing everywhere in the towns around us and up and down the shoreline. So anyone who's out there paying attention, please don't leave your keys in the car. Take them with you and that's it. Or dog. And just be mindful of that because it's, obviously you don't want your car stolen, but it's a big resource drain on our department as well. So let's all be mindful. With that said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Christina, Hillary seconded.
Yeah, sure.
All right, all in favor? Motion adjourn, approved. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.